So last night, the Milwaukee Bucks punched their ticket to the NBA Finals, effectively ending what I believe is a 47-year drought. I think the last time they were in the finals was 1974 or so. And proving me wrong in the process. So, can't be right all the time. It'd be like that. It is what it is. But as I watched the game last night and game 5, I came to realize something. The Milwaukee Bucks are a very good basketball team. And while that may not be the most uncommon knowledge in the world, considering the fact that, they've been one of the top teams in basketball over the past 3 to 4 years or so, I was thinking a little differently, because I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are a very good basketball team without Giannis. Giannis, the type of player that Giannis is, I feel at times cripples what that Bucks team and the talent on that team can really do. Obviously, Giannis is a very ball-dominant player. He's the number one option on the team, the star of the team. But the way that Giannis plays the game, I feel, hinders the other players on this team from playing the game their way. Because naturally, when Giannis has the ball, he is the primary ball handler, and more often than not, he's gonna take the shot, right? And while Giannis is a fairly good passer, fairly good facilitator, you expect the ball to be in Giannis's hands, and you expect Giannis to create opportunities to score for himself in most cases, or the rest of the team creates opportunities for Giannis to score. Now, we all know that Giannis is not the best shooter in the world. I think that's pretty well documented. Now, most of what Giannis is going to do is drive. That's his thing. He's a big guy, very tall, very muscular. A mismatch for a lot of players with his athleticism and speed. So he's gonna take you to the rack. And because he's so good at that, the team tends to kind of operate around the fact that he's going to do that. And while that in most cases isn't necessarily a bad thing, because again, he's very good at what he does, I feel like the way that the rest of this team has operated in his absence showed me a lot about this team. There are some very good players on this basketball team, and I feel like if it were not for Giannis, the scope of this team would be entirely different. And I feel like it would be based around a more fast-paced 7 seconds or less, shoot the three style. They got shooters everywhere. Chris Middleton is a shooter. Drew Holiday. Bobby Portis, I think, had like one of the highest top three-point percentages in the NBA last year, or this past season, I believe. Bryn Forbes is coming to his own as a very good shooter. They have some lower end guys like Pat Connaughton. Dante DiVincenzo can shoot the three ball pretty well. Brooke Lopez. So as I was watching this, as I was watching Game 6, I was thinking, because there's always trade rumors swirling around about whether or not Giannis will be a Milwaukee Buck for much longer if they don't, either make the finals or, at least go to the finals. But they're in the finals now. But they've won 2 consecutive games without him by an average of 11 points. They have been thoroughly in control of both of those games. Now, granted, one of those games there was no Trae Young, but that's not much of an excuse because in Game 4 with Giannis, they were blown out by that same team with no Trae Young. Now, Trae Young was back in Game 6, and they still basically dominated the Hawks the entire game. From the beginning of the second half, there was no hope for Atlanta. They were fairly efficient. They moved the ball very well. And it just seemed like all of the players on this team who usually end up deferring to Giannis and his game plan, being able to play their own game plan, they honestly look like a well-oiled machine. And it got me thinking about where this team would be or could go without Giannis. And while I don't feel like they're necessarily a championship contending team, but I didn't feel like that when they had Giannis either. But I do feel like adding a few pieces here and there, they could be a championship team without Giannis. The talent is there. They have the defense. They have the ability to shoot. They have the ability to score from all parts of the court. They have bench depth. They got it all. And that's without Giannis even being in the lineup. And sometimes I think about it, and maybe the future wouldn't be so grim if the Bucks lost Giannis to another team, or he asked for a trade, or they lost him in free agency. I feel like they do just fine. Maybe add some pieces in the draft to make some trades to but I don't know, man. I feel like it was very telling that the last game Giannis played, they were blown out. And in 2 games where at that point you had expected them to falter, they played amazing basketball in his absence. And the whole pace of the game, they just looked like a better team at points. A lot of points. And I don't know. It gave me something to think about. What about you? Let me know something in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one.